Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Jedi Night's Watch. My name is Graeme.
And my name is Rob.
And today we're going to be ranking our favorite and least favorite Star Wars films.
Yes,
something we haven't done yet.
All 11 full-length films. Does not count any of the anime TV shows or anything like that.
Yep. And again, this is our opinion. This isn't like anything set in stone. Rob and I both have different opinions on where some of these movies fall, and we do not know each other's lists, so we're going to be finding them out together with you guys. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to talk briefly about why we have each of these movies in these spots. We're going to start at 11, get all the way to 1, so stay tuned. But before we do, Rob,
if you are a Star Wars fan of any kind, which I'm sure you are, which is why you found this video, go ahead and like the video, subscribe, and go ahead and hit that notification bell so you know when our next video is coming. Now, we do more than just Star Wars videos. We also do collectibles such as Hot Toys, Funko Pops, arcade one-up machines, anything collectibles really we're kind of diving into. But today, hence our YouTube name, the Jedi Night's Watch, I think it's about time we do our ranking video for the movies.
Yes.
I like all Star Wars. So, by all means, I love the world building and all that, so I don't hate this movie, but it's definitely my least favorite for many reasons. And that is The Rise of Skywalker. So, the reason that is because I feel like it pretty much kills the original trilogy by, taking away the balance of the Force, bringing back certain characters just for...
Before we go any further... Spoilers. There may be spoilers in this video, so if you haven't seen these movies, which I don't know why you'd be watching this if you haven't, but if you haven't, there will be spoilers, so feel free, Rob.
Yeah, bringing back... pretend I froze. Bringing back characters that, just for, like, the fan service. Having Rey have, like, the double lightsaber pretty much just for the heck of it, and... the battle in space was kind of cheesy to me, and yeah, I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan. I thought the beginning was really solid, kind of dark, kind of like, okay, I see where this is going, and then it literally was like crash and burn. A lot of the character development wasn't as good as previous trilogies or movies, in my opinion. But like a lot of it, like I kind of saw coming. Like there was nothing in this movie where it was like, okay, didn't see that coming. So that, without getting too into it, since we got 10 more movies to go, that's pretty much, yeah, very disappointed.
Well, my number 11, my dead last movie. I also really like Star Wars, and some of these movies are fun to watch if you want to try and forget that it's a part of the original and even the prequels. But my number 11 is going to be The Last Jedi. Lots of things with this movie. We don't know, like Snoke. We see Snoke, we're wondering who this guy is, what's behind the character. And in the second movie, we're thinking we're going to get some backstory, and no, they just kill him off. So that I had a problem with. Luke's character, I didn't think that, and I know Mark Hamill did not like the direction of this either, but I didn't think a Jedi would make those decisions to isolate himself and abandon his friends and also the Jedi way. He just was like this grumpy old man that was milking these weird animals, and there was too much of this weird comedy going on, and Rey has super Jedi power right off the bat. Like, it's just not really believable to me. Yeah. And then the space gambling planet, which I know that I think you like.
It's probably the only thing I liked about the movie, to be honest, just because it was cool. I don't know.
And I thought they could have cut that out and saved like 45 minutes.
They could have, yeah, for sure.
No point to it.
That says a lot about the movie.
Yeah, I saw this in the theater and I just wasn't blown away. Yeah, overall it just didn't entertain me as much as I would like, and I didn't really understand kind of the route they took with it. I know J.J. Abrams didn't really do this one, and that could have been part of it, but yeah. I pretty much just watched The Force Awakens and then Rise of Skywalker if I'm going to go through that trilogy, so...
Yeah,
that would be my number 11.
Well, since that is your number 11, I will go ahead and say that's my number 10.
Well, there you go.
And for many of the same reasons too. I did like the gambling planet and all that, but it was kind of pointless to the story in the end. At the end of the day, which says a lot about the movie because it's like, okay, that's my favorite part. But if that's my favorite part, what about like the training should have been so much better, and she should have taken her time. Like they should have taken her time to learn. Like you were saying, the ending was a little weird. Like
right.
Like the way with Luke Skywalker and all that. That was just a little weird to me.
Just disappears.
And yeah, and all that. I mean, I kind of get what they were trying to do, but at the same time, it was like, just different.
Yeah.
And you could tell it was very. Nothing against Disney, but you can just tell it was very Disney-like,
Yeah.
So, yeah. What's your number 10, Graeme?
Well, my number 10 goes to the prequels, and it is The Phantom Menace. No, I'm just kidding. My number 10 is going to be Attack of the Clones. The relationship between Obi-Wan and Anakin the whole way through is just painful to watch. They can't stand each other. Anakin, like, outwardly disrespects Obi-Wan all the time. Just does things that he deliberately tells him not to do.
Yeah.
It's tough to watch. Feels more like a love story than anything else to me watching this. There's a lot of cheesy one-liners going on. The sand quote is just taken off into its own little atmosphere nowadays. It gets in all the cracks. I just saw this in the theater and I was waiting for it to be over. That'd be my number 10 is Attack of the Clones.
So my ninth favorite film in the franchise is Attack of the Clones.
We're close.
Mainly because of the, as you said, between Obi-Wan and Anakin, which I can agree to as well, but my big beef was how much of a love story it was. It was way too cheesy. That part bothered me the most. I get that they're trying to show, like, okay, this is Luke Skywalker's, parents, and, it's a big deal that they're falling in love, and, you have the love, and then you become a Jedi, and, like, all this stuff happening with his mom and all that stuff, and there were a few good scenes. I personally thought that the CGI was by far the worst in that movie.
I agree.
Any of the other movies in that trilogy. There's a part where they went into a restaurant, and it looked so bad. It was like a diner, and the guy, I don't remember his name, but the guy who like ran the diner just looked absolutely terrible. And it was probably the cheesiest film out of the 11 movies that we're talking about, and I think that's the acting was very at Star Wars low.
Well, the good news is the higher up we're getting, the less negative things we're gonna have to say about the film.
Absolutely,
that's good. But
we should still. I mean, there's a lot of good things happening in these movies too, but I feel like because they're in the lower, we're trying to explain why they're.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like it's not that we just absolutely hate these movies. We'll watch them, but like Attack of the Clones too. Like there almost was like too many plots, and it was just kind of all over the place.
It was,
but yeah, so my number 9 is going to be Rise of Skywalker. I believe that was your 11.
Yep.
This movie was rushed. It had really bad pacing. Really not much character development other than Kylo. I did like kind of where his arc went, but I thought everybody else didn't really care that much about, like they didn't have any in-depth character building going on there. Feel like a treasure hunt movie. Like now we're going here, now we're going here, now we're going here. We just got to go to the next spot.
Yeah, it was hard to keep track of which planet they were on.
Yeah, and then and then with pacing and it being rushed, like you think Chewie's dead when that ship blows up, and before you can even like let that sink in, they already show him on screen. Like, oh, okay, well there is Chewie now. Now we go on to the next thing. Emperor Palpatine coming back. It just kind of erases Anakin Skywalker being the chosen one and like the whole 6 movies prior to these, and I don't know, there's a lot that's not explained either. They'll say something but they don't explain why it's now this way. They're just kind of making things up, but they don't really have a backstory on why things are doing this, like with the Force or with the Emperor being all that is the Sith and
big rockets.
Yeah, now you have all these Star Destroyers that raise up from this planet, and they all have these cannons that have the same power as a Death Star, and it's just like, what? Where is this coming?
Like, who built this?
Yeah, and then the kiss at the end. Like, I wouldn't mind the kiss if Kylo lived, But if he's gonna die, then just let it be. Let him die.
You see that little love story there was weird to me.
It was a little
That
weird.
was really. That
It
was
felt
odd.
rushed. It felt rushed. But I did like Kylo's. I did like his story and how his character arced through that movie. You know, I said that bringing back Emperor Palpatine was a bad move, kind of weird. But at the same time, I did kind of enjoy it because he's just one of my favorite.
It was
villains.
it was cool seeing.
Like it was cool to see him, but it didn't make sense.
Yeah.
But there were entertaining parts of the movie. I liked when Rey and Kylo faced off in that water planet where was a part of the Death Star was there.
Yep.
Like the callbacks
cool.
were really cool. The CGI was really good in that one. So there were some good moments, and that's why it's at my number 9. Like I'll watch it, but there's just a lot that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So that's my number 9.
Yeah. Well, so we pretty much are 3 movies, just in different order.
But they're all in our back 3, so that's pretty good.
Well, it might start changing here, so I know how you feel about one of these coming up. My number 8 is Solo. I really did like Solo. I think more than some. And I liked it because, I mean, who's not a Han Solo fan? Who doesn't want more Han Solo and kind of know more of his roots and kind of where he came from and how he began? I thought the cast was excellent. I really did enjoy the cast, but I thought the CGI was great, acting was great, storytelling was good, just a good movie. I mean, I don't really have anything bad about it except that it's probably
It's not going to blow you away.
Yeah,
but
it's not
a good movie to just entertain yourself.
Yeah, it's more of an entertaining movie. It's not one of those movies that you really have to watch, but it was fun. Number 8.
Well, my number 8 is going to be The Force Awakens. So the major problem with this was there's far too much fan service, and it just felt like a retread movie to me. Like, you have the poor main character, which was like kind of Luke, also like poor, didn't have a whole lot. Same with Rey, kind of a scavenger. But then they have these Force abilities. You have the bad guys that have this Death Star again. The old legend that comes back, Obi-Wan, and then in this one it's Han Solo, dies. And at the end, they find a way to blow up the Death Star. So it's kind of just like the same movie that we saw, and I get it. They wanted to bring new fans in and kind of feed them that fan service. The other thing that bothered me was, again, Rey's natural Force abilities. Like, I get having some Force abilities, but just to the extent that she had was a little unbelievable. Just wielding a lightsaber right away. And I thought Kylo Ren was underwhelming as the villain. He just seemed kind of like a crybaby.
Especially in that movie, out of the 3.
Yeah. But again, I do like how his character built up to the third one. So, again, but this is number 8, so there are some things I like about it as well. There are some of the fan services or the callbacks that I do like. I just thought it was kind of over the top, really kind of punching you in the face with it.
Yeah.
But overall, definitely the best of the newest trilogy, and it's watchable. It's not bad. It's fun, but it's just kind of like a retread. So that's my number 8.
So my number 7 is The Force Awakens. I mean, pretty much staying on the same track here. Exactly right on point. I mean, it's literally the same movie that we've seen before. I can't get over how pretty much badass Kylo was until he took off his helmet and he just started crying and smashing things and was basically a little crybaby.
I thought you were going to say something else.
And that was before we saw the sequels to where we more understood him more. So that first time we're like, wait, this is like the main guy? Are you kidding me? And then it's just, I did like the beginning, kind of how that all started with Rey and she's kind of like a scavenger. Finn. That's where he kind of like changed everything, changed the way he felt about things and saw how the Emperor was basically taking over and how dirty they were pretty much, and he wanted to be different and better. And I thought that was cool. But then like everything after that was just, I've seen this before, and it was cool to see Han Solo again and, Princess Leia and all that stuff. And it was cool seeing that. But then the way Han Solo just like that out of nowhere. It's like, really? You died by the crybaby? You're killed by him? Really? This is the guy that kills you after everything you went through. It was a little upsetting. But overall, like you said, best movie out of that trilogy, I believe.
Right. So my number 7 is Solo.
Oh,
So we're just kind of flipping these a little bit.
yeah.
I was not a big fan of this movie after the first time I saw it. I remember I got the movie for Christmas. I watched it. I was like, well, that was kind of a waste of a gift. But then, a while later, I kind of go back to it and I watch it, and it's become very entertaining. And I like seeing the backstory of Solo. I love seeing that 5 seconds of Darth Maul. I mean, who doesn't love seeing anything they can of Darth Maul? It doesn't wow you, but it's definitely entertaining. And it's just a fun Star Wars movie to watch. Some people hate it. Some people love it. I'm kind of in the middle where I enjoy it for what it is, and I know what it is, and it's not going to be, the greatest Star Wars movie out there, but I think it's definitely fun to watch.
Yeah. Well, and any Star Wars is good Star Wars, right?
Right.
Okay, so this is where I think people start hating me or our channel. My number 6 is Revenge of the Sith.
Okay.
And it's not higher on the list, but it's not lower on the list. It's right in the middle, pretty much. That was probably the only Star Wars movie I saw in theaters 3 times. Yeah, for many reasons. One, there was kind of nothing to do where I lived at, and saw it with friends that didn't see it yet, and it was the end of that trilogy that everyone is so stoked about in the beginning. And I think what really got to me was just the voice acting, the way it did feel rushed, with everything with Anakin and Obi-Wan, and how Anakin was kind of turning dark, and he's so in love in the second movie, and then all of a sudden just he starts going nutso, and I get why it happened. I understand that, but it reminded me kind of if anybody's seen Game of Thrones, how they just rushed it with Dany. And It was just like, boom, I'm going to destroy this whole city. Well, boom, I'm going to kill all these kid Jedis, and training. And, and the fight at the end was good, between him and Obi-Wan. But some of the one-liners that were being said during that was just really, like, something that, what was it, like, I've got the high ground or something like that. I don't know. It was just, but I was not a big fan, personally, with the guy who played Anakin Skywalker, and I think that had a lot to do with why these movies aren't higher, on my list. But overall, I liked the story. I liked where it was going, other than being a little rushed. I won't take that back. But overall, it was really cool. The ending was amazing. Seeing basically the babies being born and how they were kind of delivered to. Where we met them the first time. That I thought that was the perfect ending to that trilogy. But there were some things that just makes it kind of to where it's not higher on my list.
Sure.
That's all. So number 6, Graeme, what you got?
This is where Rob starts to not like me.
Oh, gosh.
And this is the Phantom Menace comes in at 6 for me. So right in the middle of the pack.
Okay.
There's good parts of this movie, and there's boring parts of this movie. There's ups and downs, and I really enjoyed the pod racing. Any scene with Darth Maul, the end fight scene was awesome. I thought, especially for the time, too much CGI. This is when CGI was becoming a big thing, and they really overdid it with the CGI. Too much Jar Jar. And you get to learn more about the Jedi. Like, you actually are seeing Jedi. Like, because when we're in the normal Star Wars trilogy, there's really no Jedi left. So. Right. Just some sketchy acting in areas, but I did enjoy the movie a lot, and it's in the middle of the pack. I really do. I think that my favorite part, though, is obviously Maul taking on Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Again, Darth Maul. Like, I still think he was the best thing to come out of this movie.
Yeah.
So Phantom Menace is my number 6.
So my number 5 is Rogue One. I saw Rogue One with you in theaters when you had already seen it one time.
Okay.
So I know you saw that at least twice in theaters. I love the direction they went with it. It reminded me of older Star Wars, but dark.
Right.
And so it was like Mandalorian mixed with dark. Like it was almost kind of like a horror. Not, I mean, the end kind of was, but like it was more dark. I liked the tone. I liked, the cinematography of it. The story was really good. It was kind of cool to kind of see that behind the scenes story. the last scene with Darth Vader just coming in and just kicking butt before and knowing that happened right before the first time you actually ever saw him from the original trilogy is, coming in the original trilogy and just acting like like a boss, just walking in like nothing happened.
We never got to see that in the original trilogy. There wasn't the technology and there was just we had two old guys going at it. So that was really cool.
It was really cool finally seeing Darth Vader doing what we thought he could do. Yep. But that's not the only good thing. The acting, by far, I think some of the best acting in all of Star Wars. Honestly, I mean, me personally. That's all pretty much. I mean, it was just a lot of fun.
Man, we're so close here, but we're just not connecting.
Top 5.
My number 5 is going to be Revenge of the Sith.
Okay.
Most of the movie is action-packed with things unfolding around every corner. Rob says it's rushed. I think things are just kind of happening out around every corner, and I like it. And I guess looking back, you could say it's a little bit rushed. But we get to see the clones turn. We get to see Anakin turn, Palpatine emerging, Yoda in battle. We never got that before. Plus, in my opinion, the best Star Wars battle scene of all time. You had two guys that were like brothers, trained together. They know each other's every move. They're pretty close in abilities. Anakin does have the advantage, although his ego or his anger kind of gets in the way, and that's kind of what holds him back a little bit. But it's like a really equal battle, and you just see that, like they're giving it their all. Yeah, and they're like just throwing everything they have at each other, and I don't know, something about that. It's fast, it's tough, it's brutal. But yeah, it's Anakin's downfall. It is his ego, and you just see him kind of take that devastating turn to be Vader.
Yeah.
And then you get to see Vader taking form. Like, it was only at the end of the movie, but it was really cool to see, like, him getting into the suit and seeing more about the suit and and
very good movie. It was a good movie. So my number 4 is a New Hope.
Okay.
Why is A New Hope so high on my list, yet lower than some people would probably put it? Well, it's high because, you get to meet these characters for the first time.
Right.
And during that introduction, it's so memorable, meeting Han Solo for the first time. Meeting Luke Skywalker for the very first time. Even though he seemed very much like a tool, like a jerk.
Luke?
Yeah, kind of just like whiny at first and all that stuff. It's kind of annoying, but once he kind of met his crew, and he started becoming a Jedi and training and stuff. It was phenomenal. But which I guess is why it's my part of the reason why it's my least favorite out of the trilogy. But just getting to know the galaxy and for its time, how good of a movie it was, and just the storytelling. I mean, everything that we said about The Force Awakens, how we've seen it already. Yeah. If we had never seen that before, that movie would have been a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything about it. I mean, Darth Vader and the way, just getting to know his powers. And you were talking about Han Solo, or not Han Solo. I'm sorry, Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin fighting. Right. And Revenge of the Sith, and here we have in A New Hope, everything they know about each other going like this. A little slower now, now that they're older. So, but no, I really enjoy that movie. Just some of the best scenes in Star Wars in that movie.
My number 4 is Rogue One. I feel like I'm just kind of following behind you here, but yeah, this was a new film with classic Star Wars imagery. Like Rob said, it felt like Star Wars, traditional Star Wars. And it was a Disney film, but it was dark. Again, like you said, different kind of story, not as much of that comedy. Some lull in the middle, but it really picks up in the beginning. I really like the beginning, and then the ending is awesome too. Could have done a little bit better with character build-up and backstory, kind of making that better connection with a few of them, because I mean, other than Jin, you really don't know a whole lot about some of these guys.
Yeah.
But I get it. Great final scene with Vader, like Rob said. Just really puts the movie over the top. And they introduced new things like Death Troopers, the stormtroopers that were in black. Like, those guys are badass and not to be messed with. So, like, you know, just something else that came out of Rogue One. I just I really like the tone. That's like I always say, that kind of Batman movie is dark. Dark. It's realistic. It's it's a grind. And this was kind of like the same thing for Star Wars. It was dark. It was It was getting down and dirty. It was a grind. There wasn't a whole lot of happiness. Not to say that they can't be happy, but, you know, we're in war. So I think that's why I really liked Rogue One. And I thought the character of Krennic was really good, too. Just another good villain that did a good job. I feel like you're going to have more surprises than me. Mine's, you know.
My number 3, and if it was solely to do with entertainment, I'd put it at number 1. But overall, is The Phantom Menace. Let's start, before you start turning the channel here. Let me start by saying The Phantom Menace was not the first movie I saw in theaters of Star Wars. I saw A New Hope in theaters when they did like the remastered version or whatever back in like 97 or something like that. But I was not in love with Star Wars. I always got like Star Wars toys and stuff from my aunt because she thought I like loved it, and I was kind of like, okay, it's okay. But when I saw The Phantom Menace, that's when I fell in love with it. I was a kid, you know, seeing Jar Jar Binks and those types of characters is fun, and I think George Lucas knew that, knowing that kids, this was going to be like, hey, fathers are going to be taking their kids to go see this movie. We have to make it entertaining for these kids. And even if you think Jar Jar is dumb now, as a kid, if you were young enough when you first saw it, it was funny, you know. And now, even though he's annoying now, but you had pod racing, which amazing, even a great video game off of the pod racing, you know, and that's something you never really saw before. I wish we would get more pod racing. I thought Anakin as a kid was actually really good. Especially if you compare kid Anakin to adult Anakin. Arguably, my opinion, the greatest lightsaber duel in all of Star Wars was with Darth Maul, you know, Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon Jinn. Seeing the relationship between Anakin and his mom and leaving his mom to become a Jedi, and, you know, you said there's some like boring parts in there, and sure, you know, but it all comes together in the end with just everything that's going on with them trying to assassinate, you know, the Queen, and just a lot of intense stuff. Like you said, Darth Maul, and me personally, a lot of people say Darth Vader. I think Darth Maul is the best thing that came out of Star Wars.
That's probably the biggest discrepancy we have. I have it at 6, you have it at 3, but even still, it's not that far off.
Right.
So my number 3 is going to be A New Hope, which I think was your 4. So
was my 4, yeah.
Behind. Like you said, so many great characters introduced, great story that keeps you engaged. New films have definitely put a damper on some of the fight scenes. You know, Obi-Wan and Vader, they just didn't have the technology that they do now to make these really exciting lightsaber duels. But there's a really cool reimagined duel between Obi-Wan and Vader on YouTube. So if you guys haven't seen that, check it out. It makes that fight scene.
Will do, sir.
Yes. I wish somehow we could just put that into the movie, and then A New Hope would be like, you know, amazing again. But yeah, so that didn't really stand the test of time, but the movie itself does. Really good score. You know, that Star Wars introduced, you know, everything was new and we hadn't seen anything yet. So like just the theme music and all that stuff was really,
the words pop up.
Yeah, the scroll. So yeah, New Hope is my 3rd favorite Star Wars movie.
Well, let's see if we have the same two in the same order.
I don't think we will, but let's see.
I think we might. Maybe not. Who knows? My number 2 is Return of the Jedi.
Nope, we don't.
What is there to say bad about this movie?
Right.
Nothing. I mean, there's nothing to say bad, nothing to criticize, other than I wish it was longer, and George Lucas has tried that. But no, Return of the Jedi, I mean, you know, you have the duel with lightsaber duels. Darth Vader and oh my gosh, Luke Skywalker, and him fighting his father, and his father finally, coming to it and saving his son and creating a balance there with the Force and everything kind of came together as to why. And then of course the question is like, okay, well, what happened before this? And created this huge franchise for the series. Just to be able to say, hey, this was the ending of a true trilogy that created something nobody has ever created before, something that was going to last decades afterwards, where generation after generation would show their children. I like the build up with Vader basically going after Luke. Like he's in search of this frickin' brat that's taken away all of his glory. I mean, that's the sense I got, and finally when that duel happens, it's really cool.
Well, so my top two are, gosh, they're more like 1A, 1B. Again, I go back and forth with this too, and part of me thinks that Empire Strikes Back is the better film, but I just love Return of the Jedi more, so my number two is Empire Strikes Back. Nothing you can say really wrong about this movie either. Vader is truly the best villain, where you just see that in this film, just choking people out, moving on to the next henchman if he lets him down, in search for Luke, and then freezing Han Solo and Carbonite.
Yes,
you're making this deal with Lando, and then just changing the deal like that as they go on, and Lando's like, the deal just gets worse and worse. But yeah, this movie keeps the good guys on their heels through the whole movie. They don't really have a victory through this movie. It's always the bad guys kind of taking charge here, or taking victory. And then at the end, you have Han Solo being frozen in carbonite, and then Luke facing Vader for the first time, and then finding out that whole "I am your father" mic drop. It was just epic. And you have that cliffhanger ending going into the third one, where you don't really know what's going to happen, and the good guys are beaten down, but how will they kind of bounce back? So yep. Empire Strikes Back was just phenomenal from start to finish. Like they introduced more planets. You had Hoth, you had Dagobah. It was just great through and through. Yep. So Empire Strikes Back would be my 1B.
Yeah. Well, my number one is Empire Strikes Back. It does have, as you mentioned, I'll just kind of go from there, Hoth. And that is my favorite planet in Star Wars, personally. Everything that happened in Hoth, and everyone searching for Luke, and making sure he's not out there dead, and the training, Luke Skywalker's training was a huge thing with meeting Yoda and the rise of the X-Wing, and just everything that was going on in that movie. You really learn so much. I feel like I learned more about the Jedi in that one movie than I did all the other movies combined. And learn, again, like you said, learning that Darth Vader was or is Luke Skywalker's father. Just the relationship too between Princess Leia and Han Solo, and how that's kind of building up. And I love that movie. That's the one movie, if I'm like, hey, obviously it's my number one. If I can watch one Star Wars movie, which one would I watch? Which one would I keep over all of them? It would be that one. Because like I said, you learn the most.
So my number one obviously is going to be Return of the Jedi. I thought maybe if I had to nitpick, the only part that maybe was a little underwhelming was the time in Endor with the Ewoks. But I grew up, loving this one. What's that?
That was fun.
It's fun. That was fun.
If only Jar Jar was there.
Yeah. Some people think Jabba's palace is a bit boring and kind of weird in the movie, but I really liked that part.
When I was a kid, it was weird. Really? Nowadays, I like it a lot.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. Love the scenes with the Emperor. This is like the first movie that we really got to see the Emperor, and it was creepy because he's this all-powerful guy, and he's kind of pulling the strings with Vader. So, to see somebody that's more powerful than Vader was like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
Love seeing the battle with Luke, kind of battling to see, is he going to be taking the dark side? Is he going to stay on the good side? Kind of that inner battle there. And then the battle scene with Vader, again, not the most flashy, but definitely a lot of emotion in it, and really, really great for the story itself.
Yeah.
And they tied everything up, and it had a really good feeling. And yeah, like you said, it was the best trilogy ever, and it probably maybe still is. Yeah, another one that through and through I just love watching, and it's the one I watched the most growing up, and that's kind of why I go between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. All right, guys, well, let's take a look. We'll show our lists here, and let us know what you think in the comments below. Let us know which list you like better.
Yeah, which list is more like yours, and give us your top 3 or 5 or whatever, or top 11.
Yeah, let us know where we're way off and what we hit on. And
Phantom Menace is nowhere near top 3. Are you kidding me?
Feel free to put your
everything that I said about why I like it, and just went to nope.
Yeah. Well, that's the nice thing. We can have a difference of opinion because there's reasons why we like these movies, and hopefully you guys can understand why we like and dislike each one of these movies. Not that we dislike them completely, but, you know. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for watching. Like Rob said before, don't forget to like and subscribe. Ring that bell so you can be notified when we're coming out with new content. We did just get the Darth Maul DX-18 Hot Toys from the Solo movie in, so hopefully that review is going to be coming out soon. We got some other stuff we're working on, and we got that guy. All right, guys. Until next time, stay safe, and we'll see you soon. May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.